It's back to school, and what that means is your children might need a haircut. Joining me is my friend Natasha and her daughter Cleo, and I'm gonna be showing Natasha how to cut Cleo's hair. Natasha, before we cut hair today, let's go over what you're gonna need.
Sounds good.
So, Cleo, we've got a comb, right? And beside that we have scissors. So for your scissors, make sure that you're picking up a pair of scissors from the beauty supply. You don't wanna be using kitchen scissors or maybe sewing scissors. It is good to invest in a tool that's gonna do the job for you, okay? And then beside that, we have some sectioning clips. Beside that, I have a really large tooth comb. Sometimes detangling kids' hair, it can really hurt them. So if you use something like that, even she can get involved and comb out the tangles herself.
Yep.
And then beside that, you have another brush that's also really good at detangling hair. And then lastly, you're gonna need a cape.
Okay.
I also recommend that you pick up a color of cape that's different or opposite than your child's hair. So if you're cutting a kid's hair that's lighter, stick with a black cape. If you have children that have darker hair, go with a lighter cape. Step one of this process is to make sure that your child's hair is clean, washed, and air dried. With Cleo, she has naturally curly hair, so Natasha made sure that Cleo's hair is clean and that it did dry in its natural form. So you can see how much curl she has in her hair. It is easier to cut kids' hair that has curl because it kind of hides mistakes. Really straight hair, I do recommend take them to the hairdresser because they're gonna be able to do it better. Now that we have the hair all air dried, we wanna brush it out. Now we're not gonna brush it straight, we're just brushing it to make sure that it looks as big and as puffy as possible.
Okay.
Why we're doing it that way is if you say that you only wanna cut the length off to here, you're going to get that true length.
Yeah.
When hair is wet, it stretches. So very quickly when you're cutting hair and it's wet and it dries, all of a sudden, it could be as short as your ears. And we don't want that today, right? No, not at all. Now that Cleo's completely combed out or brushed out, I'm gonna comb everything down, and she's got her cape on. And I do recommend that when you tie your cape, you wanna have the flat side at the neck. Otherwise, what can happen is when you go to comb, it's gonna get caught. The other thing is, depending on the hair type, sometimes it can be hard to comb through with a small tooth comb. So that's when you're going to use your large tooth comb, because you're gonna use it to just comb the hair in place. Because the last thing you want is for your kid to experience a really negative haircut. You'll also notice that Cleo is standing. And why she's standing is because I can get a better cut on the line of the haircut. The other thing is, our hair naturally grows a little bit shorter on the sides to longer in the back. So you do want to figure out if you want to keep it sort of rounded at the bottom or completely straight across. So Cleo's really good at standing still. So for me, what I would do is I would actually just come in and cut her hair straight across. Now I know that most moms want to get their fingers in there because they feel like they have more control, but you're actually going to get something that's more accurate if you don't, if you just actually cut it straight across. Now if you're too afraid, by all means you can grab the hair and hold it in your fingers and cut, but for accuracy, just want to comb that hair down and then any little bits of hair that come out from that line. So can you see where it starts to get very light looking? It's almost like I'm drawing an imaginary line and I'm going to cut that away. And because the hair has been combed out, it's actually easier to cut. If there's a lot of hair, very high density, you may need to take sections, but for the most part with kids' hair, you don't have to. So I'm just kind of combing and I'm making sure that I'm seeing that nice curved line. So you're really just using the scissors to cut that curved line. Okay, excellent. So a visual check is gonna be best because with curly hair, it's not gonna always fall in place exactly the same every single time.
Right.
So if there's any sort of little random hairs, this is when you can remove those. Okay. Nice. Now all we need to do is the front. To do the front, we want to layer just ever so slightly, but that can actually be really hard. So instead, what we're going to do is take very small pieces of hair, just like so, and we're gonna hold them all the way down to the end and we're gonna twist it. And then once we've got it twisted, we're just gonna take off the littlest bit. And what this does, so we'll hold that out of the way. What this will do is it'll layer. So if I hold that bottom piece and then I kind of twist, it'll layer the front, but it'll do it in such a way that it'll look very natural and very blended, because the twisting is actually a texturizing or a blending technique. Again, if your child has really, really straight hair, this is going to look maybe a little irregular, so I really only recommend on curly hair. All right, Natasha, so I've done the first side. So to do the second side, you're gonna take a little piece from here, and you're gonna take a very little piece from the opposite side.
Okay.
Okay? And then with your scissors, so I'll pass those to you. You're gonna hold on to them and kind of looking at, okay, if this is there, from here you're gonna twist. So twist from first, yep. Good. Exactly. All right, and then you're gonna cut the end.
Here?
Yep, but you're gonna point your scissor tips actually down.
Like this?
Nice, yes. So almost like a finger's length longer.
Okay, perfect.
And then twisting the end. And if the hair is falling out of the way, this is where those sectioning clips are gonna come in handy, and we're gonna get that to hold. Okay, and then using the tips of the scissors pointing downward. There you go. You're just gonna take a bit. Good, nice. And we can always check to make sure that it looks similar, okay? Doesn't have to be perfect. Nice, good. All right, Natasha, you did it. Cleo's haircut looks beautiful. If you wanted to add more layers, the same way that we were pinching and twisting, you could do that sort of at the back as well. But for most kids' hair, I recommend just this haircut, especially when it's longer. Works perfectly every time.
Perfect.
What do you think, Cleo?
I think my hair is shorter because we cut it.
And do you like it? Yeah. And what about all of that hair that we just cut off your head?